Welcome to Threads of Enlightenment, a podcast devoted to helping you overcome challenges in your life that prevent you from becoming the best version of yourself. Each episode features interviews with people from all walks of life about their journey of self-development and the principles they utilize to overcome their fears to achieve their desired outcome. Ready to be enlightened? Here's your host, Ken Primus.
One of my favorite space, as you guys know, and that is to welcome our guests, because I know they're coming with a couple of things I deem very expensive, and that is their time. Time is a precious commodity given to all of us. 24 hours, guys. Now, what you do with that 24 hours is going to tell me a lot about you. And the other is the journey. The journey is a powerful creator because it created the individual before us, which is Corey. And while he went through that, what we call the journey, he acquired a couple of things. We call those things, the labels that we give them, are wisdom, understanding, and insights. And so we want to delve into his mind, extract some of those precious things so that we can become better human spirits while we are here on this planet. Corey, thank you for coming to Threads of Enlightenment.
Hey, I appreciate it, Kim. Thank you so much for having me. Truly an honor and blessed to be here.
Excellent. This is the question, Corey, that I ask people on the onset of the podcast because it helps the audience to understand a couple of things. I want them to understand that it's not just about them. This life here is not just about you. There's two journeys I believe you go on, and that is the independent journey, Corey, and then there's the interdependent journey where we serve each other. So my question is, how do you serve mankind?
That's a great question. And so many different ways in today's, world that I live in versus the way I used to. But like today, mainly by serving people, helping them create freedom in their life, create passive income so they can obtain a little bit of that freedom in their life. And that's all done through digital assets or cryptocurrency, what most people call it. And so we have found many different ways of finding passive income via cryptocurrency, and we have been able to get some pretty outlandish gains through cryptocurrency. And so we have 207 members in our community now that we've been bringing along for this ride. And the ride's not over. It's far from over. In fact, we're starting the next bull run here in that space. And it's going to be a fun time. I think there's going to be a lot of people who will be able to free themselves. For me, true freedom is time freedom. I love that you had mentioned time as one of our most precious commodities, because it really is, man. I want to be able to do what I want with whom I want, however I want. And that for me defines success. And if I can help people obtain a little bit of that, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if people can obtain just a little bit of that, then I've accomplished my goal.
And that is awesome. And I think I always tell people, you just need one or two. And I grew up in the church, Corey, and this gentleman by the name of Jesus changed the entire world with just 12. He took 12 of them, and they changed the entire planet. Why? Because I tell people, when you show up, and all of you guys are listening to us, when you show up to Corey's site, because we're going to provide all that information for you to do that, you need to show up as a disciple. Don't show up as a member, in the sense where I tell people the difference in members in the church. They sit there and they just fight for the seat. But a disciple wants to grab all that knowledge, that insight, and then begin to do something with it. And so I invite you guys that when you get to Corey's space, come wanting to become a disciple, and then he will be able to guide you how to do that effectively and grant you your freedom. Corey, one of the things that we do here at Threads of Enlightenment, we go into this time machine that is called the Memory Man. And we go back and we visit a couple of spaces that we reside for a few years. The first that we spend a couple of years, if you will, is called the family home. We have these two individuals that we call mom and dad, and they are strangers to us. They are looking at the world through whatever trauma and their perspective of that, and from there. And so now, Corey, they're going to deposit data into your life, into your heart, into your mind, into you. What was your family like?
That's a great question. So it, probably like most, it was a very troublesome childhood that I had, but I mean, it taught me so many different lessons and carved out the person that you see before you. My dad was never around, I didn't really have a dad, so I was raised mainly by my mom, and my mom just kind of let me grow up and do whatever I wanted, which God bless her heart. I'm glad that she didn't put any restrictions around me, because the way I live my life today, where I have no fear of risk, is because of my mom. It's
Yeah.
120% my mom, because she was like, she just let me explore the world and do what I wanted, and whether the consequences are bad or good. And now that has gone into my adulthood, and so it's been amazing. I thank God and my mom every day for the way she raised me. So those were some of the great things that came out of it. And my relationship with my dad has changed now since I've been an adult, and we do talk, and I do understand why he was the way he was when we were kids, and it's fine. It's fine. He has his own, like you say, I love that you use that word, but he has his own issues that he's dealing with in his life and still dealing with. And now I'm able to help him with some of those issues. And I want to so he's still around with us today. My mom is not, God bless her. I love her. I lost my mom about 2 years ago, but my dad's still here. And so
Um,
I'm able to have a better relationship today with him than when we were kids. And so that's kind of what my childhood was like. We were a religious family too, and the that was where I got my experience into God and the universe. Now my comprehension of God and the universe has very much changed since when I was a kid. And I think that's for
yeah.
everybody, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
how you develop that as you go, you get older,
Hmm.
and yeah. So that's kind of my childhood, man. I got 6 brothers and sisters, and they're all doing great. I got 2 of them coming in to visit me here. I live in Puerto Rico now. They're going to come out here and visit me in Puerto Rico here in 2 weeks. We're going to
Sweet.
go out, explore the island, and do some scuba diving and do some fun stuff. So my family we're all very close in that regard, and I'm blessed, so blessed that we are close like that. I do see so many families out there that just don't, they're not like that. And because I mean, just journey through life, it's a very special one, and the people
Yep.
who we spend it with, I want to make sure those relationships are developed and cultured, and we create memories. Same with my current family. I have a family now. I have 2 daughters. I have a wife, and
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm providing them with the same amount of memories and experiences that I had, but in a good way. And I want to be just the best possible father to them, that I possibly could be. And so that's my childhood. The where I grew up at was in Phoenix, Arizona,
Yeah.
where it's extremely hot,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so it was yeah, that's it in a nutshell, man. It's yeah,
Yeah. That's a precious gift that your mom gave you because
yes,
as a young individual, that gift of allowing you to be freedom, I think, kept you from plugging into the default lifestyle and living there forever. Because once you've tasted that, even though we, because of situations, we are coming back into the default programming for a while, the experience of that freedom never leaves. And
I
it
agree.
has been imprinted on the man's soul, his being, and he will forever long to obtain his freedom and find ways to get there. So here you are, beautiful present mom gave you. Dad had some struggles and so forth, but it is part of life. It is the good and the bad, the ugly, all creates us into who we are today. So as you're moving, you have a tight family, as you said, and you guys are moving and you're growing as an individual on this planet. Corey, you are getting into high school, if you will. What was your relationship with the others outside of your family? Because here's this young man, he's taste freedom. He has a little trauma in there with dad and stuff like that. what was his approach to communication with others in his space?
Not good in high school. So since I did have some of this kind of trauma going on, or this like struggle going on with my father inside as a teenager, plus I, was able to act out however I wanted. I got very heavily involved with drugs and alcohol very early on in my life. So in high school, I dropped out of high school in the ninth grade. I started hanging around people who were very heavily involved with drugs and alcohol. And I became an alcoholic and drug addict rather quickly in my teens. And that carried a long time throughout my life before I was able to get sober. I've been sober for multiple years now. One of the greatest decisions I ever made in my life. But it started in high school.
Talk to us, Corey, about that. One of the most important decisions in your life, because I tell people it's very important who makes that decision, and I'll explain why. This, I believe, is not the natural mind, because the natural mind, Corey, because I was back there partying my ass and stuff like that, and I'd be like,
Man.
I want to, I need to stop this. I should stop this. That kind of conversation that I had, that's my natural mind
Mm-hmm.
engaging in that conversation. And then one day, Corey, the subconscious mind, the world calls him, religion calls that individual the soul. He has enough because of this repetitious of decline and madness, and he wants freedom. What did he say, Corey? Because it is important. Because I tell people, you and I live a circular life until that decision right there is made. Because he is now going to release some words, and then those words are going to be the guiding post to get him out of where he's at. What was those words you said?
It it was me learning how to love myself was the
Yeah.
way I was able to break away from the shackles of addiction. And it didn't happen overnight, right? Like that was not like
No, it
something
never
I woke
does,
up
man.
one day and like, oh, and then like it was over the course of years, I was learning to love myself. In fact, I'll kind of tell you the story behind it. So I tell people real estate saved my life because that was like the first introduction for me of investing, of being an entrepreneur. And I got into real estate chasing the dollar. Simply put, I
Hmm.
just wanted to make more money. I had a job at the time. I was partying my butt off, drifting through life with no direction. God knew. He's like, I'm going to put this carrot here because I know he'll go
Yeah.
down the rabbit hole with this carrot, and then he's going to find something that he doesn't know is there that will wake him up. And it did. By getting into real estate, I started getting around people who were like minded that wanted to get better in their life spiritually,
Yeah.
mentally, physically, and financially. Those are my four pillars that I lean on every single day that I want to get better at. And being around these people who are, learning spiritual and mental, always improving themselves in that framework, I started learning and going down like Dr. Joe Dispenza stuff. Another
Hmm.
one is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. I even went to Michael
Yeah.
Singer's temple and I started learning these things about myself that I did not know. I started learning how to love myself. And I was still, drinking and doing drugs all throughout this part of the journey. But there was one day I woke up and literally it was like I had enough. I knew that if I continued the road that I was going, it was going to be death, right? And
Yeah.
that's fine. That it's not that I'm afraid of death, but I wasn't ready to die, right? And I'm not want to die now. I want to do so much more in my life. And there was a day I woke up. I remember it was after Thanksgiving, about like what is that? Years ago now. It's like 5-6 years ago. I woke up and I was like, "That's it. That it's enough." I had that voice screaming at me though for a while now because I had
Yeah.
been
Oh, yeah.
learning to love myself. And it was like,
Hmm.
hey, you're killing yourself. You're dying. Here's what you're running from. And it was showing me now where before I did not know what I was running from. And obviously it's has to go back to my childhood with my father.
Yep.
And it was like,
Yeah.
here's what you're running from. This is, you need to address it and stop running from it. And I did. And I did. And now, been sober for years. And it's, like I said, it was the best decision. It's one of my superpowers now. I
Yep.
get to wake up at 5 in the morning and feel amazing. I can go and crush the world. And
Yeah.
I can go hang out, with people who do drink, and I get to wake up great afterwards. And it's one of my superpowers for sure.
The
So
trauma becomes your superpower, Corey. And I keep telling people that the trauma, because we are so powerful, we will take that trauma and synchronize it and cause it to become our superpower. And it will fuel us because the first several, yeah, I don't know, 20 something years of our life, I mean, some people longer than that, be living on that survival mode. We are just surviving and we'll do whatever it takes, sex and rock and roll, if you will,
yes.
to maintain that survival posture until, like you said, one day you got up and you're like, no, man, no, I need something new. And as you said, God will put these little carrots to lead you to that space. So here you are, Corey, you're hanging out with the folks that are operating within the four pillars that you are now governing your life with. As you are there, it propelled you to begin to look deep, start looking at yourself, discovering who you are, bringing
Yes.
in the aspect of learning to love Corey, because Corey has become this monster in his eyes, and he has to learn how to love that guy right there. Talk to us, Corey, when you started engaging in that, and tell us about some of the tools that you brought into your life, tools like meditation, journal, whatever tools those were to help Corey now to navigate from that old mindset to the new mindset that he wants to begin to live from and live through.
So yeah, you started to hit the nail on the head there. I got deep into meditation, and it was
Yeah.
through guided meditation. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure you are. He's got some
Yeah.
amazing books that people should read, and meditations that you can do. So through what I call my morning routine now. So I developed this morning routine where I only focused on Corey. That was it. Like, it was obviously the rest of the day I'm doing, business, I'm doing, whatever else. But that morning was dedicated to just me, and it was to be uninterrupted. One, it was to pray with God, to get an understanding of what God is in my mind, and to keep trying to connect to the higher source. So that was one, a part of my practices of my morning routine. Two is meditation through means of like Dr. Joe Dispenza and his ways of meditation. It's great strategies if you want to start implementing that in your life. And then like affirmations, right? Practicing what we tell ourselves every day, because I think a lot of us tell ourselves a lot of negative things through, if we don't train the brain. And if we've gone
Yeah.
through some trauma, like you talk about, we have to rewire the brain. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a process, and affirmations is a great way to do that. And so that would be I used to write these letters too. I remember I haven't written one of these in a while, but they were called the January letters. And these were really, really neat because they would be forward facing a year from now on how Corey was, financially, mentally, spiritually, physically, everything we envision ourselves and we want out of life. And it was forward facing a year, and it was a letter written in the first person in that time. And I would
Yeah.
read that. It's called the January letter. The January in front of you. You write one every January, and then I would read that every single day on what my life looked like, what I wanted to be in the future. I remember one year I recorded it and I played it subliminal, while I was sleeping. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of reprogramming there
Yeah.
again the brain to love itself. And so it was, and have success in life, right? And everything, like I said, all four pillars of my life was what I always trying to work on. And so that was part of my morning routine, along with running. I found a love in running, and running is my physical part that I love, that I tend to now for my body. I started running half marathons and started, getting in. So I'd get up and I'd run 3 or 4 miles as part of my morning routine every day. And it's still with me today. Even today, I run 3 or 4 miles, probably 4 times a week. And so it's an amazing way for the physical. Some people go to gym, work out with weights, whatever you want to do, but that part has to be, conditioned. And because the body is a temple, right? And we got to take
Yeah.
care of this body. If
Yeah.
we don't take care of the body, then it will decay a lot faster. And I want to make sure I keep it in the best shape I possibly can. I would love to live to 100,
Yeah.
110 to see my daughter's kids. I think that's
Yeah.
the goal, right? So, but yeah, that was a lot of the tools that I used to condition myself. It was that morning routine was powerful, man. I still have the morning routine to this day. And the first thing I even do to this day is I pray with God, and I have a
Yeah.
conversation with him now.
Every morning, same
And
here.
yeah, and try to tap in to see what I can do to serve, right, and be a better Corey, be a better human being, and what I can do to
Yeah.
serve him and humanity. That's my number one goal now, right? And so, yeah, that was it, man. And I was doing all that. It's funny when you try to do all this stuff, but you have all this negative thing. Like if you're doing a lot of drugs and alcohol, that was my negative that I had in my life. That thing was kind of killing me slowly, and you're doing all this other stuff that's positive and moving you in the right direction. They don't work well together. One's going to end up breaking, one will end up breaking. And
Yep.
thank God it was me loving myself. That was what one doesn't always work that way. Some people, they don't listen to the clues that God leaves it before them.
No.
Unfortunately, we see that all the time. I'm very blessed every day. I'm so fortunate. I thank him so much for leaving those clues and allowing me to listen to him and him guide me spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially, right? Those are the four pillars. But the morning routine is powerful. If you can learn to give yourself time every single day to make you a better person and connect you with God, it's powerful, man.
It is the foundation, Corey. To be able to build on anything, you have to have a foundation. And once you have a secure foundation, then whatever you're building is going to be secure and sound. But if you have no foundation, and the foundation starts in the morning and your time, and I hope you guys were paying attention to what Corey talked about, because in a couple of explanation, he talked about personal development, how to process, how to get out, how to move through stuff like that. In my life, I introduced meditation, one of the most powerful tools out there. Running is a form of meditation as well, but you have to get your body moving. You have to be totally committed. When I say you, I am talking about your spirit, soul, and body. You have to be committed to the development of yourself. And
Yes.
that's going to take time. No
It's not
one is
easy.
seeking, no, it's not, no one is seeking perfection. We are seeking growth. Growth means that one time you will go forward, you will slip down, but you're moving forward. Always create momentum. Momentum will always move you out. The minute you become stagnant, that's when in nature gives us a great example of that. If you see stagnant water, you see all kinds of critters in there that are dangerous to you. So when you stay stagnant in your life, you got all kinds of critters in there that you need to start moving, man. So get your mantras, get your the things. Mine, Corey, what I did was I wrote down what I wanted to say and how I wanted to, I wrote it down, and I made a tape, and I found a program where I could plug in the subliminal messages and stuff like that. And I used to go down at night with my voice talking to me,
Yep.
encouraging me as to move forward and stuff like that. So yeah, I did something similar. Every year on my birthday, I would sit down and question myself. What have you done? What could you have done better? What did you learn? All of those things. But Corey put it into another format as to the letter, and that is a beautiful thing. And he wrote it down Writing down your vision is very important, guys. There are studies to show that when one writes down what they are going to do about their life, they attain it, versus those that don't write anything down. This
Yes.
is, proven stuff. So just become active in moving your life forward. It's important. So here you are, Corey. You're hanging out, you're learning, you're applying on your morning, every morning, and all that stuff. And you said you came into real estate for the dough, the money.
Right.
Here
Yeah.
you are. And I know some principles about chasing money. How did you manage yourself within that thing? So much is going, you're growing. What started to happen to you, man, when it comes to that part of your life, that the pillar of finance?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was going through my real estate journey, and there were some lumps on the head that I took. I mean, like on my third deal, I lost all my life savings. I mean, I
Wow.
think thank God I had my job still, right? Like I still had an income coming in, but it
Yeah.
was some hard lessons that I had to learn going through that. And that's just learning the craft of like, because I used to flip houses. I flip houses. When another strategy was called wholesaling, where you're flipping the contracts of the houses. And so that, learning that craft, I took some pretty good lumps. Also building out a massive business. I had 15 employees. Any given time I was in like multiple lawsuits though. I had a lawsuit with the attorney general. They were suing me or there was an involvement lawsuit because of some telecommunications that we did so it was like, by the end of 2022, I built what I called a 7-figure prison. And I was in this, like, I was making great money. It was great because my life was moving in the right direction with personal development, spirituality, the physical. I had a great life, but man, I was working, 10, 12, 14 hours a day sometimes. I was, like I said, in this, place where, I'm hiring and firing all day, and I have multiple lawsuits going on. It at the end of 2022, I took a step back and I was already dabbling with cryptocurrency. And this is where I really was also dabbling a lot with Michael Singer stuff. The Untethered Soul.
Yeah.
The other book is I can't think of it right now. It's the Untethered Soul Put into Practice is the other book. I'll think of it here in a second. But I flew out to his temple. I was doing meditations with him, the whole nine. I mean, I was going down that rabbit hole where I was really trying to figure out what's great about a lot of his practices. He teaches how to get success in life or get to where you're going in life instead of clawing your way there, letting God guide you or the universe guide you to your destination. And so that was a very hard thing for me to learn, but I was trying to learn that. And I was like, okay, I was having success with cryptocurrency and it was making me money. And I had this business over here that was like, it was like, man, a giant gorilla that I was wrestling with all the time. It was great, but at the same time was like kicking my ass 24/7.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I figured out I was miserable because of it. I'm like, what would happen if I put all my time and energy and efforts into crypto the way I did real estate? Would I have the same results? I knew there was people, having great success with crypto, crypto had created more millionaires and billionaires than any other asset class in the world. You can make passive income in crypto. I knew that, that it was the highest appreciated asset class known to mankind. It was a newer asset class. I'm like, what if I actually put the 10,000 hours in the way I did real estate to be proficient at this? And I did. I started really applying myself. And by the end of 2022, I was making more money in crypto than I was in my real estate company. And I knew this was it. I had to follow the crumbs that were given to me once again. And I shut my company down. I let all my employees go. I stopped even teaching real estate. I had a mastermind where I was teaching all my strategies to. I let those guys know I was done. And that's when I shut everything down and I moved to Puerto Rico. And I've been out
Yeah.
here since. And now I feel like, and that's not feel, I know I have more time freedom than I ever had in my life. And I make more money than I ever had. Not that I wasn't making money in real estate. I was making a lot of money in real estate. It was great. But this was the next evolution of my journey. And now we also teach this to entrepreneurs or what we're doing in this space. And so I just knew it was that next evolution, but it was very uncomfortable at the time because once again, you get in your comfort zone, whether it be your 9 to 5, whether it's you are an entrepreneur and you have this business that you built, you get in that comfort zone, and it's very difficult to move to the next phase of your life
Yeah.
because you're comfortable there. It's like it was scary. It was. I have a family to take care of. Like I have,
Yeah.
it was so scary. And now, man, it's like I'm out here in Puerto Rico, and it was so awesome that I did it.
Yeah. It's one of the places that everyone has to visit within the journey. And that scary part, we refer to that unknown in the religious part as fate. Now you got to
Mm.
let go of the money that is there is comfortable. You know that that's not where you're supposed to be. You know the unknown is where you're supposed to be, but you got the responsibility. You got all the natural stuff just hanging on to you,
Boy, it's
just
tough.
hanging on to you, and you have to make a decision there that only you can make. And that decision is based on your faith. Do you believe this? And when you ask that question within yourself, deep, because you got to go in there, and you come out going, yeah, you're going to do that's like that general did. He's going to burn the bridge and tell everybody, there's no way going back. We got to go forward. And so
Yes.
that going into the unknown is faith. You don't know what the heck is there. You don't know how to
You
get there
you
in all
think
things. You just don't know.
you have
We
an
think, yeah,
idea, right?
yeah.
But
But it's
it's
never the case, though. We think certain things, and then when we get there, you're like, how in the world did that work? I didn't see that one coming, you know? And so,
120%.
yeah. And so that's where I say to you, you gotta surrender there. And Corey, I tell
The
people
surrender
about
experiment.
this.
Sorry, I remember the
Yes.
other book. I remember the other book. You just said the word. It popped in my head. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That
Yeah.
was the other
I
Michael
rem-
Singer book.
Yeah, I remember this story in the Bible, and it used to fascinate me. And here is Jesus in the garden praying. He says to his father, he says, look, man, I don't want to do this thing. I don't want to do this thing. And he's back and forth. And it tells me as I'm reading that he was sweating blood right
Yes, I
here.
remember that
And
story.
Corey, none of us have gone to that degree yet. But
No.
here he is. And then a couple verses down, I read, I'll do it. Not my will, but thy will. I'm going to surrender. I'm going to surrender to all the unknown and what's going to happen. And so every one of us have to come to that place of surrendering because we are now going to embark on what we feel that is inside of us is destiny stuff. So once you surrendered and you walked into destiny, if you will, Corey, but destiny got some rough patches, man. I tell you, and it's beautiful, isn't it? So
And I don't know if it ever. I'm not sure if it ever gets any easier
I
either.
don't
Every
think
time
it's
you have,
designed for that, though, Corey. I don't think it's supposed to
no,
be that way,
it's
because
just
I think it's designed to stretch us. That's what I think.
yes. My gosh, it does that. It does. It's part of the
I
growth,
think it.
right? And I feel like that's the reason why
Yes.
we're here as humanity, is to grow as a
Yeah.
spiritual being. Like we're just a spiritual
Yeah.
being having a human experience, and like it's designed to grow us. And
Yeah.
it's boy, it's never easy.
I think if it was Corey, we would get bored.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
would get bored. Nothing would
it's a
challenge us
good
if it
point.
if it was easy. Then the human being would adapt and get bored, and just
Yeah,
it'd be just like to me it would just be like living on the default program is another default programming. But when you come over to this side, it has nothing to do with that because that whole
there's
world
no
is
more default.
constantly Yeah. So here you are, man. You're in. Talk to us about some of the things because I remember in crypto when I traveled the world. My sons traveled the world on crypto and stuff like that. We used to go to bed one night and wake up the next day with thousands of dollars in the account and stuff like
Sure.
that. And just calling each other and go, "Hey, did you know?" and all this kind of madness. So talk to us as to some of your expectation there, Corey, some of your wins and losses within that, and how did you begin to learn and gain insight, stuff like that, as
It's a
you're in
great
that space?
question. And it's very almost similar to my real estate story, my real estate journey is when I first got into the space, I was just following the influencers on YouTube. I was in it for shiny object syndrome. I was in it for,
Yeah, yeah.
I treated it like a casino almost, throw money here, throw money
Didn't
there.
we
And
all do that?
I think we all do that, right? Yeah, it's just the lack of knowledge of the actual
Yeah,
asset class of the space, and it's just how
yeah.
a lot of us get introduced. And I came in, not this cycle, but last cycle at the top, right? And
Hmm.
I think it was 2019, 20, 21 was
Yeah,
the actual top, and so I came in at the top, and I had to ride that wave down, and I didn't understand how market cycles work in the space. I didn't understand, how to do proper due diligence. I didn't understand anything about decentralized finance, which is
yeah,
what we do now is DeFi. We don't do anything in the centralized world like Coinbase, Kraken, crypto.com. These are all centralized. We do everything now where we're holding our own keys, we're being our own bank, we're having self-sovereignty. We A lot of the ethos of crypto I resonate with. Like we have permissionless money. There's
hmm,
nothing in life that's permissionless. Everything we do in life, it almost requires a permission from another human being. Whether it's
yeah,
like we're paying for dinner with a credit card, you're needing permission from that credit card company. If you're getting money out of the bank, you're needing permission from the bank. Mostly everything we do in life is permission, where true cryptocurrency is permissionless. And
yeah,
so I was going through, and after I lost some of that money, I started joining some masterminds. I started getting a private mentor. I started going to events. I started treating it a little bit more serious, and that's when I started seeing some success with it. And that's when I was like, man, maybe if I really, really treat this like an asset class and not a casino, there's something here. There's definitely something here, and there absolutely was. And I started learning about how to liquidity provide, which is way where you're the Coinbase. You're basically offering the
yeah.
assets to the marketplace to trade back and forth, and then you make all the fees. So I was learning how to liquidity provide. I was learning how to mine true mining on a layer one blockchain. I was learning that. I was learning how crypto dividends worked and all this other stuff. And I learned how to do proper due diligence. How do you do due diligence on the founder, the community? How do you go in and not only read the white paper, but read the audits? And what does the
Hmm.
audit tell you? Oh, it says has admin keys. What does that mean? What does the admin keys allow the founder to do? And all these things that people don't understand because it's just a lack of knowledge, right? And they don't want to apply
Yeah.
themselves to learn about it as an asset class. And so I started I started learning all these things, and I started applying it. And that's when I saw, wow, there is, a lot of wealth that can be made here. And so now we have a saying in our world, in our community, we say, well, we use cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool because it's a great tool for that. And we're not completely done with real estate. We like real estate still. I just never
Yeah.
want to find a deal or run a deal ever again unless
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
absolutely had to, right? But we want to use crypto as a wealth creation tool. We want to use real estate as a wealth preservation tool. So we want
Yeah.
to be the money in deals and preserve our wealth when the cycles tell us to. And so this is part of all the learning process I've gone through in the journey and make passive income along the way. And so it's exciting because right now we're entering the next bull market. As most people probably already know, Bitcoin hit its all-time high already
Yeah.
pre-halving event. We have these what they call the ETS, which just means
Hmm.
Wall Street can come in and participate now. We have these coming in. The Ethereum ETF just got approved. We haven't seen the money starting to come in from that yet, but we're about to. And so it's going to be a wild times we're about to go through for the next year. And, right now you get an opportunity to front run Wall Street if you wanted to. If you want to go front run
Yeah.
the big boys, you have that opportunity in this space right now, which is really cool. It's really fun. So besides the money making part of cryptocurrency, obviously, like I said, the ethos of crypto, where you have self sovereignty, where you're being
Yeah.
your own bank, you have no middlemen, right? It was designed to decouple us from the big banks and governments of the world, and it was designed to give us the power back. It gives the power back to the people, and I love that part about cryptocurrency, and that it's permissionless. And so there's a lot of underlying ethos that I really resonate with while I am making money. It's not always about the money. Money's great, don't get me wrong. You got to have money to go after your dreams and goals in life, but the ethos of it really resonates with me too, man. And I want to be able to teach this skill set to my daughters, because I feel
Yeah.
like it is the future and it solves a problem for humanity. I feel like the fiat dollar is going to go away one day. There's going to be other types of government types of cryptocurrency. They call it CBDCs.
Yep.
And I want to make sure that I give the skill sets and the way to be free, true freedom, to my family and teach them, because crypto solves a problem for humanity. It really does. It gives them true financial freedom in the sense that they can transact freely. We've never had that, or at least not in our lifetime. And I think it's only going to get worse with if they create these government cryptos called CBDC. So you need a tool to fight back with, and that's what
Yeah.
DeFi is.
I think they're going to do it, and DeFi has to be the place to get it. I hope you guys are listening. I'm going to provide everything for you guys to get access to Corey, because he's done a lot of put in the grunt work, as they say. I know you guys have heard crypto is no good, this and that, but let me give you some advice, and you can take this one to the bank. I know it's you can take this. When you see corporate America coming into crypto, you know that they are coming because they see something. You're listening to me, they see it. They can argue and fight and whatever, but when you see them coming in, it, for a lack of a better word, on their end, but everyone already inside of it, like Corey, they know that it's legit, as they say. But when you have the corporate boys coming in, they will give it a sense of legitimacy to all the other people out there.
Oh, yep.
But there are people in there that already knows that it is a legitimate form by which one can become free through passive income and get your family. I am interested in you guys becoming free and being with your family. I am interested. Corey is interested, and I want to make sure that this stuff gets to you. And I want to challenge all of you guys out there that are just listening to us going, yeah, whatever. Give them a call. Click one of those links on and go in there and see what you see. You remember that thing I talked about, Corey, a little, that walk of faith? Just
Mm.
start tapping your foot in that water and allow yourself to explore, and it'll change your life. So here you are, Corey. You're in Mexico, man. You got yourself Puerto Rico, right? You said
Puerto Rico.
Puerto
Yeah.
Rico. You're in Puerto Rico. My son, he's living in Mexico. He also is one of the guys, the first one in our family that was pushing crypto. Everyone,
Oh,
man,
super
he'd
cool.
call us up and say, "Hey, Dad,
You might want to
I
get a
just
little bit of this.
I
Just a
just
little
made
bit.
this." I know. So he lives in Mexico, but yeah, it affords you things that choices that a stationary job will not give to you, and that choice is freedom. There is nothing like it. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. For freedom
Oh,
for you, number one, but freedom for your family, and you can bring along a couple of friends that you have. Close friends with you on that journey of freedom. So here you are, man. You have gone in, you began to do the deep dive to excavate all of the nuances within the industry, and you gained a lot of insights and so forth. How did you now begin to pivot, Corey, to begin to create those venues by which you are now going to reach people, because you put in the time, you put in the
Yes.
grunt work, as they say, and now you're going to create a process by which you can invite others to come in and educate them to also seek freedom in their family. Talk to you, talk to me, re-educate me, talk to the audience, talk to those people that are listening out there. What is it we can expect when we say, okay, let me click this link?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you how it happened. It was by accident. It was not
It's
by,
never by accident.
wow. For me and my human body, it was by accident. God probably knew it.
Yeah.
But like I was teaching real estate, back in the day on my strategies, and I had like a little bit of I had a small real estate mastermind going on, and it was great. And then when I had shut everything down, being that I had kind of already a name in the real estate space, at least in the fix and flip and wholesale space, like people were reaching out to me like crazy. Like, Corey, what are you doing? What's this crypto thing? I don't understand. Like, can you teach me? And I kept hearing this
Yeah.
over and over and over again. And I had another, it's so funny because it's never by accident. I had a really good
Yeah.
friend who was also doing real estate, and he went in all in crypto, and he already had started teaching people. Now he's got a bit of a different story, but like he was already teaching people, and it was in the same space, the same ecosystems that I was doing. And he's like, Corey, let's just team up and let's teach these guys. Let's teach these entrepreneurs, these real estate guys, how to have at least 1%, 5%, or whatever they want exposure into this asset class, and so they can have a small seat at the table or a big seat like us, because we're all in on it right now. But like he's like, let's do it, and I did. And so it was like people were hitting me up left and right, and I was like, okay, let's design something here where we can teach these guys, how to get a low exposure in this asset class and attain some freedom. Or maybe their goal is like they want to make more money to buy more real estate, whatever it is. Everyone's got their different whys for everything.
Yeah.
And so we did. So we started teaching, like literally getting on Zooms like this in a group format and showing them, okay, you got to go here, click this button here. Make sure you don't do this. Make sure you get your security in order. This is what a hardware wallet looks like. This is how you use a hardware wallet. You need to make sure you have a hidden passphrase. You got to and we would teach them all the foundation. And then this mastermind grew, and it grew and grew. And now we have leaders in the mastermind who are doing this for us. We have subsets in the mastermind that are teaching the beginner stuff, more advanced stuff. And it's grown to a point where we have 208 members in the mastermind today. We've been able to help people like Robert Allen, who is a billionaire. He's an OG in the real estate space. He was one of the guys who were on the infomercials back in the day. But we're helping him and his son. Like, he's in our mastermind. It's really, really cool. We had a guy the other day, he turned $3,000 into $350,000. It's wild to see these stories come out of the mastermind. But this stuff is, it developed in that direction. And since we we understand business and we understand how to grow a mastermind, that experience in the real estate space, in the real estate influencer space, just translated right over very easily. And it wasn't the plan, Ken. It wasn't the plan at all. But like apparently that's what happened, and now obviously it's grown to be an absolute beautiful thing. We love our community, man. Our community is amazing. One beautiful asset that's going to come out of it when we say we use cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool. That's now when it comes time to take money out of the marketplace, which will be sometime in 2025, because the next cycle top. We have all these guys in our community that do real estate deals. We got apartment syndicators in there. We got mobile home park guys in there. We have self-storage unit guys in there. And we'll be able to be the money in their deals. And so it's going to go full circle back. And so it's an amazing thing that unfolded. And we work on it all the time. We love it. We love the community. My pill, like inside my pillars when I'm looking at finances, of course, God always comes first, even in my finances. Then my family, and then after my family, then it's crypto and our community. And the community is almost like the family you build. It's like they say that saying that your friends are the family you choose. it's the same with your community that you build, and it's been an amazing journey.
How long was Dane in it before you?
Probably about a year.
Okay,
Not the crypto stuff. I think we got into crypto around the same time, but
around
where
the
he
same
was kind of,
time.
yeah, where he was helping people
Yeah.
do it. And he was doing, I think, about maybe 10 months, maybe quite a year. But
Hmm.
and he only had like maybe a very small 5 people that he was helping, maybe a little bit more. I don't know the exact number. And I knew Dane from real estate. I knew him
Wow.
because I met him in a real estate mastermind like 7 years prior, and we stayed friends because we grew the same kind of business. We had the same kind of
Yeah.
very similar fix and flipping, wholesaling, real estate type business, and it's funny that we were exploring the exact same space in crypto around the same time. And it's just like I said, there's nothing is by accident. It all happened for a reason, and now here we are. It's
Do you see how? Do you see, Corey, how that plan had put together? You just didn't know about
I
it.
didn't know about it at the time.
not,
No,
not, not, not at all. And I tell people that once you surrender, God has a way of orchestrating stuff in the background while you are moving forward because He sees all. And so
yeah,
he knows ahead of time. And so you're in your space doing whatever, but it's really good to have God on your side because he can get some insight. So he's orchestrating day and night, putting things together. And then we walk into this situation that we never planned. But they had a planner doing all of the behind the scenes, and it was just a matter of time where the synchronicity of the meeting and the conversation comes in and began to escort you both into that plan that was
yeah,
made for you.
it's
And
amazing.
that is one of that's why I say to you that in this journey, if it was boring, Corey, we would be a mess in just like those in the default thinking. But because we are in this space, stuff like this happens all the
Right,
time, and
all the time.
you can't, as a human, how can you be bored with that type of manifestation moving from day to day, different ways? Because
I'm
we
never bored
couldn't
a day in
plan
my
it.
life
Isn't it?
anymore.
It's a trip, man. It's a trip, and so I invite all of you guys, man. I swear to you, come and allow yourself to begin your journey before any trauma gets you there. Start
Yes,
your journey, man. Start investigating the why. Why am I here? What makes me tick? Let's read some books. Go into different spaces with people with personal development and self development. Go and get some data and read it, and then put up that mirror of self and begin to
tough
reprogram your
mirror.
life. Yeah. And
That's a
so
tough
it's
mirror.
about reprogramming yourself because people told you you are no good, you're ugly, you're stupid, you are whatever. And then you picked up that mantra and you've been telling yourself the very same thing even more. And then, as Corey said, you have to then give yourself new mantras and new
Yep.
things to say in the morning to disconnect you from that old belief system to create the new system. That's what this is all about. And I keep telling you
Reprogramming.
this thing. Yeah, I keep telling people this, Corey. We did not come to this planet to work and have a job. And I'll give you an example. Jesus is walking. I love Jesus, man.
Mm,
He's the coolest thing. So he's
yeah.
walking, right? And he sees a couple of guys fishing and stuff like that. He looks at them. He says, "That's their job, Corey. They're doing their job. This is their fishermen." And he says, "Drop that, follow me, and I'll make you fishers of men." That was their
Oh,
assignment. And
powerful.
so he is calling them, God is calling us to our assignment. Corey's assignment is this where he is in. I want to challenge all of you guys that have a job. Here is someone who is in his assignment that can assist you to move from space to space to begin to create some freedom for your wife, for you, for your children, for generations. Change the trajectory of your family forever. And I'm going to provide all the stuff for you guys to get to here, man. So here you are, Corey. I know you talk about 25. 25 is going to be an interesting year anyway. So as you are here, and what do you see coming in front of you that you are sensing within that internal being of that is Corey?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't even know if I know the entirety of the answer for that, because it seems like there's always a plot twist that happens somewhere in my journey. like we
Yeah,
just can't predict, but like I want to keep helping as many people as possible do what I've done and bring them along this journey with me, this wealth creation journey. And if they want, to go beyond to the wealth preservation side, that's fine too. But that is the main mission that we're on right now, is bring as many people as we possibly can with us. I would love to see our mastermind grow to 500 people, 1,000 people. It's going to take some more learning on our part on how to run a community like that, and that's fine. I'm up for the challenge, so we could bring them along. That what we see a massive bull run coming in the markets, and especially for crypto. AI is leading the stock markets. I love Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio says that we are in the stage of the AI cycle where internet was in the 90s, meaning we still have a lot more to go. A lot of people are screaming recession, recession, recession. It's not here yet. And it's not going to be here tomorrow. It will be here later, maybe, but it's time to capitalize right now. And the crypto markets are just starting to get heated up, just barely starting to get warm. And so we want to get as many people involved and get the good word out there as possible, so some people can experience this passive income that we're experiencing, some of this time freedom, some of the gains that we're getting. I want to be able to impact more people's lives with that. And however I can do it is the way I'm going to do it. And it's through this mastermind, through this community, and growing this and working on this. And so that's me, what I got going on the future, growing this community to 500, 1,000 people. Now, internally, I want to keep working on myself. This stuff, this never ends. It
yeah,
never ends.
it never ends.
The journey, the spiritual, physical, and mental and financial, right? So there's the financials, all we talked about right there, right? But the first three, I'm still working on that every single day. One of the other best books I've read in my life that I just reread, I read this book. I'm trying to read it once a year now, is The Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. My gosh,
Yeah,
that
I
book
love that
is
book.
just
I love that book.
amazing. And every time I read it, I rediscover something, not only in just in the entrepreneurial side of the world, but also in spirituality and mentally. And so how can I work on bettering myself all the time getting 1% better? Physical, and even physical. People are like, well, you just go to the gym. Well, you got to develop the habit, and that habit's a
Yeah,
muscle. And you got to go, and how can you always be pushing your physical body to be better? And it's like anything else, when you got to do it spiritually, you got to do it mentally. And so that's the journey I'm on, and it's the things we talked about. How can I implement more of that in my life?
yeah.
Part of the physical too is what we eat. I've changed my eating habits
Oh,
the
yeah.
last 6 months. I eat a completely different diet now. I eat a lot of veggies, a lot of white meat. I'm out here in Puerto Rico, so there's a lot of fish, of course.
Yeah.
Even that, so something simple as that. I have more recently, this is real recent change, is my diet and my eating habits. And so always trying to improve and get better and serve more, man. I mean, that's the overall, my overall why is to be here to serve, and to and how I can be better at that and be a better human being.
Hey guys, we're going to provide again everything for you to get to Corey. This has been a wonderful conversation, man. I'm excited, Corey, just to hear and see your energy, because it's important, guys. Corey talks about the four pillars that one has to do individually, but if one suffers, all of it will suffer. That is why you have to maintain all of it, the physical, the spiritual, everything. It's
That's
it's
facts.
it's you. It's you. And if you are separated within yourself, if you are lacking in one thing, others will suffer. So you need to rise up together. That is why I said to you guys, when you come to his space, come to learn, come thinking and expecting that you are going to enjoy this ride and it's going to change your life. Corey, thank you so much, man, for coming to Threads of Enlightenment.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me, man. This has been awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for tuning in to Threads of Enlightenment with Ken Primus. Hopefully, you're now feeling more empowered to overcome the challenges in your life, whatever they may be. Share that inspiration with others by telling them about this podcast, rating it, and of course, remember to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. For more connection, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching for Threads of Enlightenment. Until next time, stay enlightened.